going on? Everybody, what is going on? The Catch. Fam, I hope everyone out there is doing phenomenal tonight. I hope you guys have had a beautiful Tuesday. I hope today has been literally the greatest Tuesday in your entire life. I hope you guys are ready for a live 2024 Superflex fantasy football mock draft with you guys, with the Catch fam. We're going to talk some fantasy football tonight. We're going to have some fun. Throw together some beautiful squads for the upcoming season. This is the first Superflex mock of the off season. So I'm excited. We got 3 spots open. So if you guys want to mock with us, I will get the link dropped in the YouTube chat in just a moment. It is live on our Discord as well, which that link is down below. But let's do this thing. We got our annual Superflex League coming up in just a few short weeks. I mean, all the leagues coming up here in the next couple weeks. So it's that time of year. But I kind of realized we needed to do a Superflex mock. And those of you guys in the Superflex League also asking, can we do a Superflex mock? So timing was perfect. But yeah, links in the YouTube chat. Please only join this if you guys are going to draft accordingly to like a Superflex format and all that stuff. If you're not like used to Superflex League, that's fine, but just don't do anything crazy in here, you know. So you'll see the ADP is a little bit different. Obviously, you're going to have quarterbacks higher, a little bit more blended in with those top tier running backs, wide receivers. And I mean, most of you guys know what a Superflex, you know, draft is. But so yeah, we need to get 2 spots in here. Go ahead and throw that on Discord too. But 2 spots available. And we'll go over some fantasy news for the day. Nothing too crazy here. Luckily, went through a day where don't have any major injuries. Let's talk about Puka Nacua. Rams head coach Sean McVay gave an update on wide receiver Puka Nacua's knee injury. Just a little bit of bursa sack. It's going to be week to week with him. Nothing serious, nothing structurally. So, in terms of analysts looking at this who look at injuries, because I can tell you one thing, I am not an expert on injuries, but people looking at this are saying he will be ready week 1. All right, let me get final warnings out here since the draft is full, and then we will get rocking and rolling with our Superflex mock, which I am pumped for. I have no idea how this is going to go. And we'll keep talking about our fantasy updates here. So I'll wait for Emil to turn to a green dot. And you know what? We'll just start the draft. We should be good. All right. Yeah. So in terms of bursa sack, that's a weird like fluid sack in your knee. And basically like that's what can lead to like knee bursitis. So we'll see what happens here. This could turn into something that's potentially nagging throughout the year. But I'm not going to overreact in any way to this situation. All right, we'll keep going through the fantasy news, but here we go. Quarterbacks flying off the board. If anyone's not going to take a quarterback in the first round, it's Michael here at the 1. Okay, he goes quarterback. I was going to say. At the 1-8, part of me is thinking about just going like heavy, Prescott, Kyler, J-Lo. I think there's an argument for all of them here. I think they're all fine. But part of me is thinking going like running back or wide receiver to start this draft. I think as you get into these later selections in the first, it's really tempting to not build a team. I was looking back at last year at some of the teams that drafted in the later picks and either went single quarterback or went with like a skill position player and then a second skill position player, and then still got quarterbacks like Jordan Love and or like Brock Purdy. And it's like, you got to really hit on the right guys, because there's other people who did similar things but drafted like Geno Smith and trying to think of another good example. Like there are some wild quarterbacks, and I mean, like, we're gonna get into a point in this draft where like some interesting name, like just about every starting quarterback will probably get selected here. But yeah, let me pull up last year. Like Cinnabon with Jamar Chase and Bijan, and still got Goff, but then he went Geno Smith. I almost did something smart. I mean, I went Trevor Lawrence and I got C-Mac, Waddle, then Jordan Love, Watson, Kirk, Swift, Pickens, Herbert, Sutton, Kmet. Really, like, if I don't go, I took Herbert, McKinnon, and Gainwell. Other than that, my draft was very good. I got Tank Dell in the 14th, but like J-Dubs went Patrick Mahomes last year at the 1.1, then got Sam Howell and Bryce Young, which really, I mean, and J-Dubs, did you win the league? Or am I thinking of it differently? Who won this league last year? Someone remind me. Mr. Sarcastic went really aggressive at quarterback when Hurts, Daniel Jones, CeeDee Lamb, Pickett, Purdy. So you're going to see different strats here. Perk like went hero quarterback, went Lamar, and then went Ryan Tannehill. Oh no, you got Stafford too. Did Perk win this league last year? Cats did win last year. So let's see here. It's just such a tough pick. I'm gonna go wide receiver and see what happens. Andrea. So Andrea is a great example. Andrea last year drafted from the 111 when Tyreek Hill, Tua, then Olave, Ridley, Dobbins, Pierce, Waller. You just really didn't hit on a lot of those players right there. But if you had, I mean, Olave fine, Hill obviously good, Ridley kind of disappointing, but probably still okay. Dobbins, Pierce, Waller, obviously super disappointing. But then you got Stroud and Mayfield. So if you hit on the right later round guys, it can absolutely pay off. Gosh, that was close to being a monster team, Andrea. Michael, see, like Michael's a bad example of this. Michael went Prescott at the turn at the 2-1, then went Ritter in the 8th. It looks like this is showing really small for me. Hold on. Yeah, Ritter in the 8th, and then Clayton Tune in the 13th. So like Andrea didn't draft Stroud till the 8th. Then went Mayfield in the 9th, right? LeBron's brain just went with Fields and Carr last year and drafted Kelsey, Adams, and Cup in between. Smokey went Herbert, Rodgers, Garoppolo. That is unfortunate. Almost could have worked out. I could have gone Goff in the 3rd. It's hard with the Rodgers injury to really. If you had gone Goff or J-Lo over Rodgers, which based on ADP, Goff would have made more sense, and then Mayfield over Garoppolo, like that would have been super solid. So there's some different examples. Jay Fitness last year just went Burrow, Watson right out the bat, and then didn't go back to quarterback for the rest of the draft. So it's interesting though. I mean, Cats went Lamar, then hit on Stafford in the 6th, and then who do you remember who else was on your roster at quarterback throughout the year? Godfather came right out the gate with Allen and A-Rich, and that was it. I think his team still did pretty well throughout the year. So it just really depends. It's a big mix in there of different players. All right. For me personally, majority of the time, I just get so worried about. I get worried about quarterback. I just do in a super flex format where I'm almost always taking 2 quarterbacks through the first 4 rounds and then getting like a security blanket later on in the draft. Um, it just really depends at like who's at the 3-8 at running back and wide receiver and how highly do I value them? Are they a player I feel like I can't pass on? But it's just like there's 8 selections between the 3-8 and the 4-5. So all right, let me hop in the chat here a bit. J-Dubs, good to see you, bro. Thank you for gifting a 1-month membership. Goes to Dame. And let's go for some upside in the same division. Give me Jaden Daniels. But honestly, Herbert, Stafford, Cousins, Rodgers, argument for all of them. But give me some upside right here. I didn't even check who's available running back or wide receiver. I'm telling you, I get really nervous about quarterback in Superflex leagues. Puka's burst a sack. Burst a sack! Exclamation mark. I will not be keeping Gainwell in the 13th. But yeah, so for our annual Superflex league, this is a keeper league. Oh yeah, I'm keeping Tank Dell in the 14th. Yeah. If you guys are in the keeper league and you haven't let me know your sleeper yet, your keeper, make sure to hop in on sleeper in the league and let me know and just tag me. Ray Gamer, what's up? I'm going to keep one of John's favorite players in all the keeper leagues we're in. Please do. Please do. Shane, I'm sorry you missed it, bro. I was trying to send out notifications like all day for this one. Okay, good. Emil's was here. I had a feeling. That's why I went ahead and started. Drafted the worst team possible and picked up Kyron and Laporta and won. I mean, sometimes that's the way it works. So my draft was good, but I went 4-10. Well, when I rechecked it, I realized it wasn't as good as I remember. But honestly, Chase, Bijan, Goff, it was your second quarterback was not good. But then Ayuk, Sanders a miss, Pittman, Hollywood, no, A-Chain. I mean, you had Goddard at tight end. He obviously was hurt last year. Mac Jones was not a good quarterback 3. Geno was not a good QB2 for different reasons. JSN, or not JSN, I'm sorry. Juju Smith-Schuster. Roshan Johnson, Kareem Hunt. I mean, you probably dropped Kareem Hunt. He obviously had some value as the season went on. But you actually had a good draft through the first 11 rounds for the most part, except for Mac Jones. Everything else was not bad. But yeah, you went 4-10. It happens. Sometimes you can have a great draft and like sometimes you can have a good team, but it'd be hard to get through in terms of points scored against, and all that stuff. All right, so yeah, this is a tough spot here. I mean, it's a big argument to lock up a third quarterback right here. But I'm going to take one wide receiver, one running back through the first 4 rounds here. So I'll take Derrick Henry. We'll just see. Michael going all in at running back. See, like there's just something to be said to if you hit on the right guys and go aggressive at the right position. And don't forget, in the Superflex format, of course, you don't have to start a quarterback in the Superflex spot. It's just recommended. You start to hit on the right position, guys, and you have depth. Sometimes that's all that matters. Yeah, I guess. I mean, of course, it's always random every year. I mean, we can vote on changing that Cinnabon. Maybe we can base it off of draft. I mean, kind of like what we do with Dynasty, essentially, without the points scored and everything. Holmes had a bad year, and Wilson was useless post A-Rod injury. I mean, I guess that's true. Michael had a great year somehow. It's always interesting looking back at the drafts. Drew, what's up, man? Oh, here's a good point. Thank you for bringing this up, Emil. Yeah, so CMC has a calf strain. Am I worried about this? No. I mean, like they're saying he's not going to play in the preseason. It's like, was he going to play in the preseason anyways? I don't quite think so. So, no, I'm not in any way worried about Christian McCaffrey. He's still the 1.1 to me. Now, like if we're like last week of August and this is like a big deal and the coaches are like, he might not play week 1, like obviously, you know, but like I don't think anyone who's already like drafted teams or drafted CMAC and Underdog or best ball tournaments is gonna like be in a position where this is gonna be a huge deal, you know. Um, I I'm not worried about anything in terms of Christian McCaffrey right now at all. Not at all. But of course, like anything else, we want to keep an eye on it because so when we look at this roster, Elijah Mitchell has a hamstring strain. Isaac Garando, I'm definitely saying that wrong. The rookie is hurt. So they went out and added Matt Breida to this roster. I think Jordan Mason's gotten some praise too. So let me go wide receiver here. And you already know I'm getting my boy Devonta Smith. DJ Moore, I would have smashed the draft button on there too. But Michael's next to me for some reason. Should ban that from happening. But yeah, I mean, let me know in the chat if you guys are worried about Christian McCaffrey. I'm just not at this point. Who are you taking at 12 and 13? So like I was about to say there's no 13th pick, but I guess technically there is. The 1.12 and the 2.1. I mean, it really depends on who is there, obviously. For the most part, you're looking at some combination of the following players, and that would be Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Gibbs, JT, Barkley, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Collins, Evans. There's like a little tier wide receiver there. If anyone from the Brees Hall, Bijan Robinson, AJ Brown tier for some reason fell, of course you're smashing them. It's probably not going to happen. So I think you're either starting your draft with one wide receiver, one running back, whether it's Puka, Garrett Wilson, or MH Jr., and then either Gibbs, Taylor, or Barkley. Or I think it is okay to go double hero running back from the 112 this year. Go Gibbs and JT, Gibbs and Barkley. Just talk about upside. There's a lot of good wide receiver value in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th this year. But for the most part, I'm probably going with a wide receiver and then a running back. Gibbs might not be there, though, in some drafts. So it just kind of depends. So a couple different answers there for you. Yeah, you got the C-Mac Purdy stack and the Baker Moneymaker Mike Evans stack. Very nice. What am I going to do with this next pick? I guess I should draft another running back. How do you guys feel about Amari Cooper right now? I feel like Cooper could end up being just like big time steal. But I am going to go running back here. Monty, Ramondre Stevenson, whoever. I think they're all fine. But yeah, of course, Michael drafts Christian Kirk, of course. That was my other pick there. Or Cooper. I mean, I really like Cooper. The reason I ask is because, like, if Cooper ends up on the Niners in a potential trade, Brandon Ayuk, how do you guys feel about that? I think he's still fine. All red teams, like Spencer drafted the all green team last year in Dynasty and won a championship. Ridiculous. Ray Gamers is my first Superflex mock. I like it. Kind of going hero quarterback there. Yeah, I mean, sleeper's out to get us all, it feels like, in the off season. J-Dub says hit the like, which reminds me, I forgot to set the poll. So hit the like button. But here we are. I mean, we're 6 rounds in. Looking pretty solid. All right. How do you guys feel about Stroud going at the 1.1? Terry, I got the second pick, full PPR. The guy who's drafting number 1 is freaking out about the CMC injury, of course. If he drafts Hill, would you go CMC or Lamb? I'd probably go CMC. I mean, I think a big thing is like you just have to look. Don't get too caught up in like ADP and like you purely look at your first round selection, regardless of where you're drafting from, whether it's a 1.1, 1.2, 1.8, 1.9, 1.5, 1.12. Do you want to start your draft with a running back or wide receiver that's going to mold the rest of your draft, right? It's going to your strategy that you start with is going to be contingent on whether you start your draft with a running back or wide receiver. So if you want to start with the wide receiver and you have the 1.1, it's okay to draft Tyreek Hill. It's okay to draft CeeDee Lamb. If you have the 1.2 and Christian McCaffrey is there, do you want to start your draft with a running back or wide receiver? Now, couple strategies to keep in mind: hero running back, double hero running back, or just all out aggressive at wide receiver. Take 4 wide receivers to start, go 0 running back. I think really these are the best strategies to implement right now in single quarterback leagues. So if you go with CMAC at the 1.2, I think you're going to be just fine, 100% just fine. So I'm okay with doing that. And I think like for me, I'm just not worried about this Christian McCaffrey situation. You know, if we're getting closer to the season and there's more of a reason to worry, I think we will know. But until then, I'm not going to freak out about it. So I'd probably go Christian McCaffrey and go hero running back. I think it's a very viable option from the 1.2 this coming year. All right, give me some Hollywood over here. Sprinkle him in on the flex. We'll keep on rolling. Terry, draft CMC. Agree. Cat says it moves CMC to the 1.3 for me. So, you know, I think it's interesting, right? Because there are people who have already been, you know, concerned about a Christian McCaffrey injury this year because this is what people do, right? When it comes to players like Christian McCaffrey who are going at the 1.1 is they get nervous that he might get injured this year. So we have seen that happen before, of course, but am I worried about it? No. If you were worried about it, then this probably moves him back to the 1.3 for me. I think it makes sense. Seems he wasn't playing in the preseason anyways. Are we concerned with the Breida signing? No. Yeah, Breida can take over CMC. No. It's a pure depth move. And it's like I said, it's not just because CMC is hurt. It's because Elijah Mitchell's also hurt. So Grail Collects has missed a good one. We'll have more Superflex mocks throughout the offseason. Emil says Cooper will end up getting traded. It's definitely possible. Definitely possible. I was hoping we get an answer to the Brandon Ayuk situation like today, but we haven't. The best thing about like the Brandon Ayuk situation, I thought today, was the fact that like Kendrick Bourne, who has been rumored to be part of the trade package if Ayuk gets traded to the Patriots, Kendrick Bourne would go to the Niners, and like he wasn't spotted at practice, and it was just like all day there were like these random updates on Kendrick Bourne is back out on the practice field. It's just like Kendrick Bourne updates all day. I thought were great and maybe a little bit silly as the day progressed. All right, I'm pretty torn on what to do with this next pick. I'm not going to lie to you guys. A little tier wide receiver I like right here. You still got Scary Terry hanging around. Godwin was like I thought a gold pick. I think Terry's a great pick right here though. But I'm going to take a little bit of running back depth and go Mostert. We'll move along here. Start to build out this bench. Albert, what's up, man? J Fitness, what's going on, everybody? Silver Rapture, what's going on, man? Just one mock for tonight. I mean, we already did an off-air mock before this. Make sure you guys, if you guys are trying to get in on mocks, are part of the Discord, because I'm doing off-air mocks like all week long too, trying to get videos put together. So, and then yeah, just one Superflex mock for tonight. But I am, if you guys have noticed, doing more mock drafts in general than trying to stream more mock drafts. Because I know I was so heavy in the Underdog for a bit, and you guys want to come out and get this practice too. I feel like Hurts will be the QB1 this year. I mean, it's definitely possible it's not Josh Allen because he's been so dominant. I mean, he's been the QB1 every year since 2020, except 2022, where he was the QB2. Who was a QB2 in 2022? Was it Mahomes? Yeah. So it's definitely possible that it is someone other than Josh Allen. But I think that makes Josh Allen like QB2 or 3, right? You think A-Chain will live up to the hype this year? If he stays healthy, 100%. Yeah. If he stays healthy, for sure. I think Raheem Mostert is still going to be heavily involved in this offense, hence why I'm taking him in the 8th round here. Just got to stay healthy. But yeah, you go back and look at a lot of the games last year where Mostert was still scoring 1-2 touchdowns. You still had plenty of games when A-Chain was healthy where he was also hitting, both were hitting double-digit fantasy points. No, just one mock tonight, unfortunately, Grail. What running backs do you think we should avoid this year? It's a good question. Let me make this next draft pick, and we can kind of look at the board a bit. Big run at tight end there. I think we lost Mr. Sarcastic, or I think one of these tight ends may have fell out. Yeah, I got to take Christian Watson here. Just way too much upside. First bench wide receiver. Give me that all day long. You know, there's not really any running backs that scream I'd rather just draft Jerome Ford than draft Nick Chubb. Personally. I'm not drafting Nick Chubb at his ADP. I don't know when Nick Chubb's going to be ready this year. For the most part, although I've been drafting more Jonathan Brooks lately, I just rather draft Chuba Hubbard at his ADP. But those are really like the only examples I can think of. I don't like Aaron Jones. I'll say that. I don't find myself drafting Aaron Jones at his ADP at all. I think that offense is going to be shaky this year. Outside of JJ, I'm worried about the Addison situation. Like Sam Darnold can definitely surprise people, but it's like, what is the entire upside of that offense as a whole just worries me. So for me, I am not drafting Aaron Jones. He's been in a void for me throughout this season. So he's probably the player I feel is strongest about at his ADP. I'm not personally really worried about Joe Mixon right now. I know some people are, but I'm not. I don't feel great about Devin Singletary. I know the volume should be there, but I just haven't found myself drafting a lot of Devin Singletary. All right, I think I have to draft the player that I was like, thinking about waiting till the next round to draft. I mean, all the teams in front of me have 2 quarterbacks. There's a lot of players that I like available at basically every position. Um, but as a QB3 this year in Superflex, I like Bryce Young a lot. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about the Panthers offense throughout the offseason. I think this could be a player that is a much improved year at quarterback. Can't be much worse than last year. Dave Canales at head coach now. Made Baker a top 10 quarterback in fantasy last year. And the season before that, made Geno Smith QB5 in fantasy. Now, do I think Bryce Young is necessarily going to go from QB 23 to QB 10 or 5? No. But if he can hit QB 15 or 16 as ADP, you're probably happy. I was wondering when Fields was going to go. So Michael gets Russ and Fields. Quarterbacks left, you got Geno, Carr, Drake May, Daniel Jones, Bo Nix. You got Sam Darnold. You got the Raiders quarterbacks. You got Taysom Hill. And then you're moving into like handcuff quarterback territory. I mean, you got guys like Michael Penix. You do got Jacoby Brissett, Sam Howell, Flacco. So out of this tier, like Geno Smith, Carr, Drake May, Jones, Nix, Minshew, Darnold, O'Connell, who do you guys like? If you're going to draft one of them and don't want to say, who is it? I mean, wait and then tell me later. I'm just interested. For me, and knowing you guys, by the time we draft, we're not going to be able to get Bryce Young probably as a QB3. But if you're waiting at quarterback in general in a super flex league, I think that's a great target. I think Fields is interesting in the 10th. Will Levis in the 7th, I like as well. Rodgers lasted till the 7.4, which I think is a good value. All right, let's see. Should I keep Gibbs in the 4th or Kincaid in the 12th? I mean, both are perfectly fine, Smokey. I mean, you're going to start your season with your starting starting tight end or your RB1. I think both hold good value here. I mean, overall, the better value, I guess, is Kincaid. And I think Kincaid has tight end 1 potential on the season. So I'll go ahead and draft Eckler here. I'm fine with him as an RB4. But yeah, I don't have any issue if you want to go Gibbs here. No issue at all. I probably keep Gibbs because I think you can, I mean, you can still target Kincaid, I think, at a pretty decent ADP. With Gibbs, like he's the end of the 1st, beginning of the 2nd round pick. It's like, I think I just go Gibbs. Hurts is my QB1 with the offensive coordinator change. I like that. Appreciate the real mocks. Get tired of everyone doing Underdog. Makes sense for the money, but not real good for redraft prep. I mean, I will say, I think the best way to get prepared for real fantasy drafts is actually doing Underdog drafts, because the amount of like knowledge that you expand in terms of fantasy doing 18 to 20 round mocks or drafts, throughout the off season in Underdog is just so completely valuable, right? It just gets you so prepared for when you're doing actual PPR mock drafts that are 12 or 13 rounds that you're not worried whatsoever. So I think there's so much value in those Underdog drafts. Plus, no ADP is swayed quicker on any platform than Underdog. The most competitive drafters in the offseason are truly on Underdog, and it's just such a good tool to utilize throughout the offseason. But I still think there's just tremendous value in having a good balance in both PPR mock drafts and Underdog drafts throughout the year. But I'm happy to do these mock drafts with you guys as well, and glad that we get to do them as community as well. Caleb, my guy. What's up, brother, man? I'm avoiding Swift like the plague. Small fade on Rashad White, Mostert, Aaron Jones at ADP. This is so triggering. It's just like cats trying to trigger me and then throw Aaron Jones in there to settle me down. Where do I even begin? You guys know all the reasons why I like Swift, White, and Mostert, but everyone's opinion is fair here. And the key word here is at ADP, right? I'll go Pat Fryermuth here. I think Cole Kmet's a great option. Let's go ahead and get a tight end off the board. James says, I don't mind Jones' ADP. Now, I will say Jones has moments in drafts where he falls. And, every now and then I'm like, well, I'm willing to take a chance on Jones. But I've like Monty, Mixon, Kamara, Swift, Walker. I'll draft all those guys before Aaron Jones for sure. And I'd rather just wait a round or so and get Zamir White. But, I think there's also an argument that like the Vikings have to rely a little bit more on the run game if they're struggling at quarterback, potentially. So I think it's fair if you like Aaron Jones in this situation as well to a degree. But I don't know. I just don't feel good about Aaron Jones this year. And I do like Josh Jacobs this year, but I have found myself not drafting a massive amount of Josh Jacobs. I just prefer Derrick Henry or Isaiah Pacheco in that range. Probably need to start balancing that out a little bit. What wide receivers are we fading this year? Mine is Pickens. I don't really like Pickens in redraft formats a ton, but I can see the argument for me. I will say, like I've been saying throughout the year, that at the end of the day, he does really remind me of like Cortland Sutton style of play. And if Russell Wilson's the starting quarterback, obviously he loved just throwing it up last year to Cortland Sutton. So I do think we could see some like weeks and games where we get some good value out of George Pickens this year, but I don't know how consistent it's necessarily going to be. All right, with this final pick, I really feel like I can go with either Rico Dowdle or whichever wide receiver I like the best here. I just feel like even if I've drafted Christian Watson or Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs is just too good of a value to pass on. It's like, do I love that the only wide receivers on my bench are Packers wide receivers? Not necessarily. And keep in mind, in a real draft, we'd have one more bench spot here. I think it's necessary since that Superflex spot's basically guaranteed to be a quarterback. And you're almost guaranteed to draft a third quarterback. I think 6 bench spots makes sense for a Superflex league, but to bear that in mind here. But we'd easily be going with another wide receiver if we had an additional round here. But yeah, Dobbs, I just think is too. I don't understand. Dobbs is just so forgotten about this offseason. Then I'll take Dobbs there all day long. I do like Josh Downs there, who just went off the board. So there's other options too. All right. There we go. First Superflex mock of the year down. Thank you guys for helping me get this put together. And let's look through some teams. J Money Fitness. We got Lamar, Herbert, Danny Dimes. I think that's fine. I really do think this is okay at quarterback. I think holding off there at quarterback worked out for you, still being able to get Herbert in the 4th. Gibbs and MH Jr., big upside. So let's just look at running backs. Gibbs, White, Robinson, Corum. Love that. MH Jr., Cooper Pickens, McLaurin, Palmer. This is a nice little team right here. You're starting Lamar. You're flexing Herbert. Like, do I love Jones this year? No, but it's your QB3. And maybe, I mean, he did like, he was in a brawl the other day at practice. Like, I mean, he's still got some dog in him, I guess. But yeah, so starting Lamar, Herbert, Gibbs, White, MH Jr., Cooper, Pickens, and Joku, McLaurin and Joku, however you want to look at it. You got one of these two wide receivers on the bench. B-Rob, Corum, Jones, Palmer on the bench. I mean, this is a good team. You worked the board pretty well tonight. I think in any format like this, like Superflex, double quarterback, auction, it's always important to pay attention to the board, but not panic too. It's a good draft. How do you feel about it, man? Cinnabone. 2 quarterback, risky. But I think it's okay for some teams. You know, you draft your 2 quarterbacks. Obviously, bye week might be an issue here. Then you just play the waiver hard for that 3rd quarterback. It can happen. Aiden O'Connell didn't get drafted. Sam Darnold didn't get drafted. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head, but like there's still at least 1 or 2 options out there. C-Mac Swift, Benson, Chubb, Algier, Evans, Flowers, Rice, Coleman, Davis. So we're starting Purdy, Mayfield, C-Mac Swift, Evans, Flowers, Rice, Kittle. I mean, I think your starting lineup is nice. He's got to get the most out of these bench players here. I saw you mention, you know, Chubb being too good at his value. And this format in the 12th, I think he's okay, actually. And I think Algier is a good handcuff. Coleman and Davis. I mean, you just got to figure out your bench right here, right? But your starting lineup is solid. So yeah, I'm okay with this. Cats. Hurts and T-Law. Bo Nix, fine. Yeah, so Bo Nix coming in as the 3rd quarterback on the depth chart right now. Just pay attention to that. Seems like a Sean Payton thing to do, but also like, I don't know. Just pay attention to it. See. By the way, guys, we're going to get some preseason football this week. Start to see some of these guys play. Pacheco, Warren, Chase Brown, Chuba. We're kind of going light at running back. Not too shabby. G. Wilson, Collins, Dell, Deontay Jamo. Ooh, it's a little spicy, bro. Starting Hurts, T-Law, Pacheco, Warren, Wilson, Collins, Dell. Got 2 Texans wide receivers in the mix here. You could put Deontay in at that flex. You can put Jamo in at the flex too. Good bench running backs in Chuba and Brown. Good flex bench options at wide receiver. Biggest wild card is the man, myth, the legend, Bo Nix right here. But it's not a bad team. And I think like when you look at where you drafted all your bench players, it's like hard to not draft these players and go quarterback. But yeah, I mean, you got McBride starting to. This is a nice team, Cats. Ray Gamer, that was different for me, but at least I know you must draft quarterback early. I mean, most people do. All right, Andrea, let's see what happened. Looked like you're having some issues with Sleeper tonight, but it happens. Kyler and Will Levis, Laporta and T-Hawk. Not awful. Walker, Mixon, Moss, Charbs, Dowdle. I mean, running backs look okay. Chase, Olave, Godwin, McConkey. You're kind of light at wide receiver, but the team's not that bad. I mean, yeah, I prefer to get a 3rd quarterback in here. Like I said, I know you're having some issues with Sleeper, it looked like during the draft, but I mean, once again, you're probably going to fight on the waiver. Put T-Hawk on. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Put T-Hawk on the IR to start the year, and then go get Aiden O'Connell or Sam Darnold. Probably Sam Darnold for me off the waiver wire if you can right away. And this team's actually quite good, as long as Will Levis. or Sam Darnold holds you over at QB2 and Kyler stays healthy. So you're starting Kyler, Levis, Laporta, Walker, Mixon, Chase, Olave, flexing Godwin. It's not bad. Leaves you with Moss, McConkey, Charbs, and Dowdle, good handcuffs to have. So pretty good, actually, if Will Levis does his thing. And I think you'd want to put T-Hawk on IR and go grab a waiver quarterback right away. Now, in a real draft, I think you see those other quarterbacks probably get drafted, but not bad. Not bad. Ray Gamer. Stafford and McCarthy. Yeah. See, this is going to be an interesting team. Okay. Stafford, McCarthy, Kincaid, Goodert, Hall, Kyron, Kamara, Dobbins, Lamb, Cup, Reed, Worthy, Downs. So, yeah, I mean, it's like I don't think McCarthy is going to start unless Sam Darnold just looks bad or he gets hurt. I don't really know. I don't really know if Mullins going to get any touches. Jaron Hall's QB4, so I don't think you can rely on McCarthy. Like, see, there'd be some of you guys out here fighting on the waiver wire to start the season, I think. But this would be a team where I'm probably starting Stafford, Hall, Kyron, Lamb, Cup, flexing Reed, and I'm probably super flexing Kamara or maybe Worthy. Probably Kamara to start the year. Then Goddard, Dobbins, Downs are all bench pieces with McCarthy. I don't think you can start McCarthy to start the year. Is the only issue with this team. I'm probably drafting Bryce Young or Geno Smith for sure before I draft McCarthy. Fields, maybe. But I don't know if I want to draft Fields in a position where I need a second quarterback on a team. I'd even probably draft Carr before McCarthy right now. It's not to say that you can't draft a player like McCarthy, but if he's not the starter to start the year, that's going to hurt your team. Dubby, what we do, man? We got Richardson, Caleb Williams, Drake May. I mean, I'm a little shaky on this QB room, but it can definitely pay off. And Drake May, another guy we got to keep an eye on, like in these situations, because Jacoby is probably going to start the year, I think, is the way it's looking right now. The brisket's back, baby, but maybe as time goes on, it's going to be our guy, Drake May. We'll see. No, I'm not buying the Joe Milton hype. Excuse me. No, I don't think Bailey Zappi's coming in, but I think Brisket's going to get the start here. Doesn't mean that you can't draft these guys like McCarthy and May and Nix, but we got to really pay close attention in like a super flex format. If you're going to be in a position early to have to start one of these guys, you got to be aware of what's going on, right? You know, like none of these teams other than Ray Gamers would be in a position to start Bo Nix or Drake May right away, but get an early injury to an A-Rich, then you would be, right? All right, let's see here. Musgrave, Henry, fine. Late round tight ends. J.J. Waddle, Debo, Roma Dunze, fine. Jones, Harris, Pollard, Javante. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't really blow me out of the park, but I think the advantage here is we just have one flex spot than the super flex spot, right? So wide receivers are fine. If you like these running backs, that's fine. I'm not going to argue against them. You didn't go running back till the 6th. So starting A-Rich, Caleb, J.J. Waddle, Debo, Jones, and Najee, Musgrave. It's fine. I mean, I think it's a good enough roster to go into the year with, but something feels like it's missing. I don't know. But I like Musgrave. You like Henry. Javante in the 9th, I like. Pollard's fine there. Najee's, I mean, it's all fine. It's a good roster to go into the year with, I think. Bo Nix guaranteed to start 17 games regardless of performance. We'll see. Team of the night, we'll get there. We'll see. So far, I think it's Cats or J Fitness. One of my first Superflex mocks of the season, felt pretty good, pretty solid about it. Yeah, I thought you got good values too. Taylor Gang. Ayuk to the Steelers. We'll see. Thought JJ McCarthy could be an interesting rookie quarterback with tons of weapons. I mean, for sure, but he's Sam Darnold's the starter right now. I don't think that's changing. Cats, I'm not putting that on the screen, but I will bookmark that in my mind. 1.12 makes keeper decisions so much harder than it should be, especially in Superflex. Thought this mock would be easier. Yeah, we'll do some mocks with the keepers, and I might not stream them, but we'll do some keeper mocks so you guys can get practice too. HBT Bears, we got another Bears fan in the house. Seen you on Flock Fantasy, did you? What's up, HBT Bears? If anyone's interested in a 10-person full PPR, we need one more person. Yeah, definitely post it on the Discord, and you might find someone quicker. But I'll leave that up for you, brother man. All right, let's roast this team I put together tonight. Prescott, Daniels, Young at quarterback. I'm okay with that, but I think you can definitely make an argument. Young is not good this year. Jaden Daniels, risky, but I wanted to go upside there over Baker, Stafford, Cousins, or Herbert. But I thought there was plenty of good options here at quarterback, but I was like, you know what? Let's risk it for the biscuit. Go Jaden Daniels. Then Prescott, he could go Kyler Murray, J-Lo, or Purdy over Prescott, depending on how you feel about that situation. But QB3 last year, I think I'm okay. So I like this quarterback room, but I could see why some people would argue against it. I kept holding off at tight end. Once again, like we lost Mr. Sarcastic. He went double tight end. I think if Ferguson or Njoku are here at the 9-8, I have a much tougher decision about Christian Watson to make. But I think the way the board was going, I felt comfortable keep pushing tight end back. And I'm okay with my guy Pat Freiermuth, who is looking like in training camp he's really involved in this offense, but who knows what Arthur Smith's going to do to this man this year. But yeah, Freiermuth, Komet, Musgrave, I think all okay there. Henry, Monty, Mostert, Eckler. I could definitely see arguments against this running back room, but I'm okay with it. St. Brown, Devonta, Hollywood, Watson, Dobbs. I'm okay with this wide receiver room. Once again, in the real draft, we'll have one more bench spot. So I probably would have drafted like Demarcus Robinson, knowing me with that final pick. But so let's see. I'm starting Prescott, Daniels, Henry, Monty, St. Brown, Smith, flexing Hollywood. Starting Freiermuth too. So that would leave Mostert, Watson, Bryce Young, Eckler, Dobbs on the bench. I mean, I'm okay with this team head to toe. I actually thought this was a really good draft, but it really depends on how you feel about these players. Some of you guys have different feelings, but I do think this quarterback room holds a little bit of risk, but I think it could pay off. So Ayuk to Pittsburgh would kill my Freiermuth bags. Yeah, I guess we got to pay attention to that, but I mean, I think Patriots Browns are still in the top of the race for Ayuk, right? Andrew says, I don't know my keeper yet. Yeah, I'll have to set a deadline, but I'm not really like too pressed about it. It's just helpful to go ahead and get those inputted. But at some point I will just set a time or why can't I talk all of a sudden? A deadline. Jesus. For the keepers. But just so you guys know, whether you're in the auction league or the Superflex league, if your keeper gets like injured next week or whatever, as long as it's before the draft, you can change your keeper. And if you want to change your keeper, I don't have a problem with it, but we're not going to like just go back and forth. And, you know, I'm giving you guys time to think about this. So I don't want to have to change your keeper like 7 times or 4 times, but if your keeper gets hurt, then yeah, we're going to change your keeper for sure. Ayuk to anywhere kills my Ayuk stock. Yeah, I mean, I have a fair amount of underdog drafts where I drafted Purdy and Ayuk, so I would prefer if he stayed on the Niners. Is Kittle tight end 2 if Ayuk is moved? No. No. I mean, it's a fair argument, but I don't think so. I think top, maybe like tight end 5 potentially. But what? I mean, you're going to draft Laporta, then Kittle? Laporta, Kelsey. Tight end's so weird this year, man. I think guys like Kincaid, Ingram, and Ferguson are being so undervalued. And I think even Kittle, to your argument, still being undervalued. And you got Pitts, and you got McBride, you got the Mandrews. Like, it seems like a very loaded year at tight end, honestly. But tight end 2 might be a little steep for me. But I definitely understand what you're saying here. Do you do full PPR? Always. Always. Really been bullish on Ayuk since trade rumors started. I mean, I still like Ayuk, and I've said it all off season long. If Ayuk gets traded, I don't really care. I didn't feel great about like him going to the Patriots. I don't love him on the Browns, but I think it's okay. Especially if Cooper gets traded, then it's like he's just going to get force fed. But here's the thing: so J-Dub's saying Patriots bowed out. It's such a tough trade for the Browns to make. Like they just paid Amari Cooper a ton of money, guaranteed money, and it doesn't really seem to make any sense for the Browns. Like if Cooper leaves and Ayuk comes to this team, does this team really change other than the fact that Ayuk is much younger? Now, if Cooper stays, then I think it makes this team very different. um, I think they'd have to trade a guy like Elijah Moore, but that doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, if Ayuk goes to this team and Cooper leaves, does it really change them? And then like it just is a really bad financial decision, it feels like. So but if he goes to a different team, I'm not out on Ayuk by any means. And Joku and Ingram are my favorites. My 2 favorite tight ends, Ingram, Ferguson, and I really like Kincaid. He's like right outside that top tier. I mean, so got Laporta, Kelsey, McBride, Andrews going in front of him on average. But yeah, I love Ingram at his ADP. Love Fergie at his ADP. I think Ayuk stays, in my opinion. He doesn't want to sign long term with those suitors. Yeah, it's not great, but it's like, I mean, he is going after the bag, and I think he's getting offered it. I think what I read is that the Patriots have offered him the most money. They're trying, but I just don't think he wants to go to the Patriots. But I don't know. It's just tough to say. And I'm kind of over. I've been over it, but I just like to know like what's actually going to happen here. All right, guys. So that does it for the night. Thank you guys so much for getting the Superflex mock put together. I should be back on tomorrow night. Might be time for an underdog draft, but we'll see. And I'm probably going to be running a off-air PPR mock tomorrow. So I'll have a video dropping in the morning. We'll have a short going out tomorrow as well. So plenty of content continuing to come out for you guys as the week continues to progress. I actually have most of this week already recorded, edited, uploaded, everything for you guys. We're just going to keep pumping out whatever we can and keep grinding through this month of August. So it's been a great month so far. And just going to continue to get as many mocks, drafts, advice videos, shorts out for you guys as possible. So thank you guys for everything. Great stream tonight. Great mock. Hit the like. Discord's down below. Do all the YouTube stuff. And we'll talk soon. Everyone have a great night. Be safe. And with that, I will say Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the catch. And